Hello and welcome to the Ladies European Tour. We've headed to southeast China for the Xiamen International Open at the Orient Golf and Country Club. A recent and powerful typhoon devastated the area and the golf course, but hours of hard work from the greenkeeping staff have restored this magnificent coastal layout. In the final group are China's sensation in waiting, Yuting Shi, the Thai teenager Panarat, Tanapol Bunyaras and big-hitting Anne van Dam from the Netherlands. She began the third round with a three-shot lead and all three ladies playing together exchanged early birdies. Tanapol Bunyaras then put herself into contention with 4 birdies in a row and hit the front with another on the 10th, but a couple of bogeys midway through the back 9 set her back. She and Van Dam had to be patient, and it was the Dutchwoman who suddenly found an extra gear and made 3 consecutive birdies to top the leaderboard with 3 to play. She hit back though with 2 of her own and looked to be heading for the clubhouse lead going into the final day until a bogey on 18, her first of the tournament, pegged her back. So confirmation of how it stood going into the final round, all square at the top, Yuting Shi and Anne van Dam with a 2-stroke lead. My name is Nigel Bidmead, alongside me is LET player Alison Whittaker. It was a terrific day of golf yesterday.
Yeah, wasn't it? And I think it's setting up really nicely for an exciting finish out there this afternoon. The wind's just starting to pick up a little bit, so that's going to make things interesting, particularly out on that back 9. But it's just really shaping up to be a great event, and it's great to be back in Xiamen after, you know, what's been a pretty tough couple of weeks for the city.
Well, it certainly has. The weather set fair. Around about 10 kilometres an hour the wind. It seemed to be a little bit breezier this morning, and it might drop off. Is that going to benefit anybody?
Well, I think it would be more of an advantage to Anne van Dam if the wind dropped, just because she hits a bit of a higher ball flight than Yuting Shi, and it is really turning into a bit of a 2 or 3 horse race here at Orient Golf and Country Club.
Well, the typhoon destroyed the trees on the golf course, and that may help Anne van Dam. Let's have a look at the early highlights of today's play with Al.
This is Leticia Rath-Underrica, 22-year-old, born in Spain, represents Germany. This is her second into the first hole after one of the best rounds of the day yesterday, threw out a 67. That one would drop for birdie. Great way to start her day. Has dropped off the pace a little bit. 2 bogeys on the front 9, finds her at 1 over par. This is Valentine Derry, winner of the 2014 Turkish Ladies Open for birdie. It's coming up a little bit shy on the first hole. Rounds of 71, 69 and 70. Val starting the day at 6 under par. 25-year-old Ajira Raxa on the first. So for birdie, 1 CLPGA win to her name. Very consistent play so far this week. And here, the Chinese teenage phenom, Yuting Shi, on the first, giving herself plenty of chances. Really put herself on the map after that 65 first round. And the overnight leader alongside Anne van Dam. Ai Chen Kuo, her third into the par 4. Second hole, no putter required. She parred the first. She's thrown out 2 birdies since then now. The ever-exciting Anne van Dam, 21-year-old from the Netherlands. Joint overnight leader. This is her second shot. The par 4 second hole is for birdie, and she posted the number and looked to be the one to catch. She followed it up with an eagle on the 4th hole. Has bogeyed the 6th, however. Now Panarat, Tanapol Bunyaras, parred the first, parred the second. This her tee shot on the 3rd. Tricky little par 3, but she gave herself a birdie chance. And she took it. Thai-based LPGA player coming up with the goods so far. Yu Ting-shi, par on 1, par on 2, and that to save par on the third hole. Birdies on 4, 6 and 7 though find Yu Ting-shi right at the top of the leaderboard. Ai Chen-kuo for birdie on the 9th. Bogeyed on 5, trying to peg it back a little bit. Currently 2 under par for her round. 8 under total. From the youngster from Chinese Taipei.
So let's bring you right up to date with what's happening. And Yu Ting-shi has regained the lead. She's on 16 under par, 1 shot ahead of Anne van Dam, who had a bogey on the 6th. Hanarat Tanapu Bunyares is going along steadily. Amelia Lewis muscling in on the leaderboard with 5 straight birdies. Terrific performance from the American. Here are some of the earlier starters. We thought Madara Hadawi may make a challenge, but faded yesterday on her back 9. Hyun-Seo Kang, not happening for her today, 4 over. Ursula Wikström 5 over for the day. So this is the leading group on the 8th green. So to go will be Yu Ting-shi.
After 2 consecutive birdies as well. Currently 3 under par for her round today. Really responded well to that eagle from Anne van Dam on the 4th hole. This one back up the slope, a little left to right.
For a 3rd consecutive birdie. And to extend her lead.
It's going to be a tester coming back down the side of the slope.
Now Lydia Hall from Wales. She had an eagle on the par 5 4th. This is her 2nd to the 10th.
I think that's found the sand, playing alongside good friend Vicky Lang today.
Van Dam from a similar position to She got the read? Oh, she's gone the other way.
Yeah, it's a tough putt because it's back uphill and into the grain. So Anne really needs to bounce back. Made a bogey on the 6th hole after a quick start out of the gates. So she needs to get that out of her memory. Noel Raxa here on the 9th, her 2nd.
Par 5.
Out of reach for the majority of players out there this week, 534 yards in length.
So back to our leading group on the 8th green. Tanapol Bunyaras, the 3rd to go. All of them left of the pin. The closest of the 3.
She certainly kept it interesting for us yesterday. Tanapol Bunyaras, out of 68, but that was with 7 birdies on the card.
So this will be She putting for par and to stay at 16 under. Very steady start with 3 pars in her first 3 holes, but birdie on 4 and then birdies on 6 and 7 have put her back on top of the leaderboard. She led after day 1, she led after day 2, and it looked like she was going to lead after day 3, but had the bogey on 18, her first of the tournament and her only one so far. Putting is the strongest part of her game. This to stay 16 under. And she rolls it right into the middle of the cup.
Yeah, that was a part of her day yesterday that really let her down. 32 putts. And she was just super steady, only made that one bogey, first bogey of the event on the 54th hole.
Van Dam, slightly quicker.
Well, an opportunity missed, though, for the long hitting Anne Van Dam. It's very reachable, the 8th hole, so it's going to feel a little bit like a bogey for her.
Well, here's the lady of the moment, Amelia Lewis. 5 consecutive birdies. She's on a tear. And this is her second to the par 5 9th. She's laid up too. Now we saw Lydia Hall's second shot on the 10th go in the bunker, and
Currently 3 under par for her round today after an eagle on the 4th hole, but it's troubles here for the Welshwoman.
Ai Chen Kuo on the 10th. Birdie on 8, par on 9. Caddy liked it. Final day of the Xiamen Open International. And it's Yu Ting Shi who holds a 1-stroke lead from Anne Van Dam. Connie Chen, 3 under for the day, 4 under for the tournament. A winner on tour. Rani Kapoor of India, 1 under for the day, 2 under for the tournament. Pamela Pretzwell in the clubhouse. Level for the day, level for the tournament. Chia Cheng, a winner here and a runner-up. Level for the day, but 3 over for the tournament. Not her week. There are some big scores out there. Is that because it was windier in the morning?
Yeah, the wind definitely did get up, but I think, you know, it's just one of those golf courses where if your ball striking is not on point, you can get punished, and it is quite polarising. The good players can play really well, and if you're having an off day, you certainly end up posting quite a large number.
Amelia Lewis, 5 under, same as Superman Sang Chan. 7 under for the tournament. So Amelia Lewis getting in amongst the leaders, isn't she?
Yeah, she's a real momentum player, Amelia. And, you know, when she gets a couple of birdies on the card, there's going to be a few more to follow. Here's Amelia there on the left of screen in the red.
Yan Lu of China will be the first to go. Local girl. Played this course many times. Good part. She gave it a clip, didn't she?
Yeah, it hasn't been the most easy front 9 for Yan Liu. Currently 3 over, 4 bogeys on the card. Just Just the one birdie, so really needs to find some form in order to challenge later on today.
Bogey on 10 for Lydia Hall after finding the bunker.
Well, that's great. That is a brilliant shot there. On the tricky par 3 11th. That pin tucked so far over on the left side today. Very cheeky from the rules officials there. But that's what you want to see. You want to see pins.
Tough pin positions.
Exactly. We call them Sunday pins on tour, and you know, you usually get a result on the hole from that. It is brings out the best and the worst in people, which is always fun to watch.
Now Amelia Lewis, this for a 6th consecutive birdie. This would put her within 3 shots of the leader. Well, it's a good putt, but it breaks her run of birdies. Equalled her best round of the year yesterday on the Ladies European Tour. Just outside the top 10 in Spain, but missed the cut in France. Up and down for Amelia Lewis, but certainly up today. Ai Chen Kuo.
The birdie on 10, not quite getting the pace right there. The pin tucked all the way back on 10, only 22 paces on, but that's when you have to bear in mind that the green itself is only 25 paces long, so very tricky spot to get to. It's on the 9th.
Raxa. That was for birdie. She'll have to settle for par. The greens are running quite slow, and that's quite understandable given the typhoon that passed through here, what, less than a month ago.
Yeah, well, I was talking to a lot of the players, though, and they do say that the greens are running incredibly true given the troubles that they've had. So, you know, if they have to be a little bit slow to get it going, then that's absolutely fine by them. This hole 11, Vicky Lang is coming up shy with her birdie. Made the turn in 38, which is 1 over on the front 9.
Kuo for par to stay at 8 under. So she's a little bit off the pace, but lurking and smiling. Now Lydia Hall for birdie after that lovely tee shot on the 11th.
Trying to bounce back from a double bogey on 10. Not to be. A bit of an up and down day for Lyd so far with that eagle on 4, double on 10, and a few birdies and bogeys in between.
Lou for par.
Recognise this face and remember it. Yan Liu, not getting off to a great day today, but she is a star of the future for Chinese women's golf. Incredibly athletic player, quite a big hitter as well.
Only her 2nd event as a professional. Now this is the 9th.
Very rare you see a par 5 playing in 5.37, and that's just testament to how tricky this tee shot is in particular. It's a big roping dogleg right over a huge water hazard. Trouble for our lead group, however.
You think she will lay up here? She's quite a way behind the other two. Well, for a second, I thought that might be bouncing towards the water, but she keeps it on the fairway. Tanapol Bunyaras also laying up. Yeah, just skips into the rough.
It's not pretty down there on that left side. I can tell you that from experience in previous years. There's actually a little fish farm over on the corner as well. That's not something that you want to pay a visit to, but it's out of bounds all the way down on the left side of the 9th hole.
And a reminder that it is pick and place. The fairways are wet in spots.
Yeah, that was just purely a defence
club length
from the tournament director.
Yes.
Xiao Pinto doing preferred lies.
We're lucky to have a tournament, and I think everybody associated with it knows that we owe a debt of gratitude to the greenkeeping staff for all their hard work. The army of volunteers that have helped put this tournament on, and Van Dam and the others in her group are playing their part in giving us some hugely entertaining golf.
Just an iron in hand here for Anne Van Dam. She has been able to get very close to all of the par 5s in 2 this week. And that's going to be a good leave there. Chipping back straight up the hill.
Flirted with the bunker. On the par 3 11th. Ai Chen Kuo from Chinese Taipei.
Well, that is going to be a very tricky up and down to a downhill slope there for Ai Chen Kuo. Bit of an unforced error there on the par 3 11th hole. Now the hot player on the golf course, Amelia Lewis. 5 straight birdies between the 4th and the 8th hole. No shock. She finds the fairway on the 10th.
The par 5 12th and Lydia Hall.
Pretty solid tee to green. Lydia, oh, not getting much run actually, but she hit 83% of her fairways yesterday. That one might make it 84%.
Coming off that bogey on 10, Lydia Hall. Now, isn't it an advantage to hit first?
Well, I think on the final holes, Anne Van Dam is going to be having a lot less club than Yu Ting-shi. So where Anne has a wedge, there's probably about at least a 3 or 4 club difference in between them in length. Yu Ting-shi averaged 226 yards off the tee. Anne Van Dam 255, but she also wasn't getting much run out of it. So it was probably up around the 275 mark on a normal day. Just caught the slope a little bit there. Unlucky not to get a kick forward, but she's been practically flawless tee to green all week.
That's how she rolls. Now, Tanapol Bunyaras found the rough with her second shot. This is the third. The ball is sitting up.
Well, it took a lot of turf. Have to wait a moment to see where that ended up. I've caught a bit of a flyer perhaps out of the rough. Like it shut off the club face pretty quickly there for Panarat.
So Van Dam there for 2. Yu Ting-shi for 3. And Tanapol Bunyares is not on the green.
I had a chat with a couple of the players earlier today, and we said, what does Anne van Dan have to do to win this tournament against someone as consistent as Yu Tingshi, who you know is not going to make many bogeys? And this is what we talked about, her aggressive play. If she keeps the foot on the gas all day long and stays confident, particularly off the tee, down the last 6 holes, she'll certainly be in the mix with such a big advantage with her length.
This is her 3rd. She'll have wanted better.
Well, it's a tricky one. Over the back on 11.
Having overshot the green with her tee shot. Holds up in the fringe.
Winner on the LET a few years back. The ladies' British Masters at the time, now the ladies' European Masters.
On the 10th is Amelia Lewis. She's a little bit unlucky. Doesn't roll out, checks and rolls back a little bit. So this is where Tanapol Bunyares ended up, and she's left herself that for par. That's the penalty for going in the rough, I guess.
Yeah, and the penalty for going long on 9. You do have to think your way around this golf course, and it's a testament to Yu Tingshi at such a young age. Her course management has been impeccable so far this week. She said that she actually studied the statistics of the 2 people she was playing with yesterday and knew that Anne van Dam and Tanapol Bunyares would be making more birdies than her. So she knew that she was going to have to be patient going into round 3. And I'd be surprised if she didn't do the same thing out there going into today as well.
Second in the order of merit, the Chinese LPGA Order of Merit.
Second behind the one and only Shan Feng as well. So it's
who is her hero?
Yeah, and it's a big name to try and chase down.
It's her dream to win an Olympic medal. But there is other business at hand. She's played 8 tournaments here. First appearance was as an 11-year-old. Very methodical with the putter in hand. A final look.
She's doing all of the right things so far, giving herself plenty of chances for birdie. Not leaving too many testers for par. That one back on 8, which she made.
Par for she. She stays at 16 under. On the 11th, this is Crow for par, having left her chip short. And she's left herself work to do for bogey. Now, Anne van Dam.
Big putt here for Anne. This for a share of the lead.
It's as you were.
Yeah, 2 pars there on back-to-back par 5s for Anne. She can see that is a big opportunity missed for her. 3 par 5s on the front 9. Just the 1 on the back 9, so we have to get a little creative.
Tanapol Bunyaras. This is for par. She stays at 12 under. What does she have to do the next few holes?
Well, it's been a pretty steady day, just the 1 birdie on the card, so she really just needs to step it up a notch or 2, birdie-wise. The troubles continue for Ai Chen Kuo on 11, and that is the price you pay for missing some of these greens just in the wrong spots. That was always going to be brutal from over the back on 11.
Well, she's lost her 5th place due to that double bogey. Lydia Hall, she too has a double bogey on the card. This is her playing the 12th. It's a delicate shot.
Yeah, and she'll have that for birdie as well, so perhaps a bounce back opportunity there for the Welshwoman.
Noraxa for birdie. Oh,
Well, that's what happens when you use the putter out of this 419 Bermuda grass. It's a fine blade grass, but it obviously it can cling to the ball. So paying the price there, Noraxa.
final day of the Xiamen Open International. And it's Yuting Shi who leads Anne van Dam by a shot. Amelia Lewis charging on 12 under par. Nice, to the 10th we go. Good view of Xiamen.
And one of the beautiful vistas out here on this golf course. It's a cool city, actually. We got to see a little bit of it last night.
Quite a lot
driving,
of it.
driving the wrong direction from our hotel by accident, but it's a nice place to be, actually. One of my favourite cities in Asia as a whole.
Very colourful at night. She. How would you describe her swing? Classic?
Well, I know she has a tendency, and you can see that causing her a little bit of trouble there, leaking that one right. She has a tendency to pivot early in her swing, which means she takes the club back inside. And so when you've got a two-plane swing like that, it does require an element of timing, which is thankfully one of her strong points. Her tempo is very consistent, and she doesn't seem to change it too much under pressure either, which we saw on day one, posting that magnificent 65 right out of the gates from the get-go.
Tanapol Bunyares also going with driver.
Doesn't get to play too many times out on the CLPGA, spends most of her time in America this year. Bit of a rough year for her though. Missed 11 of 18 cuts, and her best finish was a 22nd on the Manulife LPGA Classic earlier in the year.
Anne van Dam, an iron. She was talking about how much she liked her 3-iron.
I'd like it as well as I hit it. If I hit it like her. To the right, and it will be lie dependent for Anne van Dam. Pins on the back though, so she'll have a lot of green to play with. She's certainly sticking to her game plan off the tee.
Leading to a little bit wayward.
It's up ahead on the green. Amelia Lewis for number 6 of the day to be.
Certainly giving herself opportunities. She pops that in for par.
Currently 57th on the money list, Amelia. This Lydia Hall on 12 for birdie.
Very nicely done.
It's a tough spot to read over there on the left side of 12. You usually think there's a little bit more break than there is and that it will be quicker than it is. And it's certainly a tough spot, so that's a good get there for Lydia Hall.
Louis for birdie. Oh. She has played here a lot.
You're just trying to peg back those 4 bogeys on the front 9. That will certainly help.
Revive her spirits. A little bit of breeze. Gentler than it was this morning. And she with this 1-stroke lead. Meanwhile, on the 13th.
Jia-Yun Lee played a couple of years out on the LET in 2013, 2014. This on the 13th. Not to be for the 28-year-old. Finished 5th on the CLPGA Order of Merit last year.
Won the Beijing Classic back in May. Had some form this year. Now to our leading group, and the leading 2 a little bit wayward. So Van Dam, I think, will be the first to play, but of more concern is the lie of Yuting Shi. Is it right behind the tree?
Hard to tell from here.
Yeah.
Provided there's not too much overhanging tree trouble. It's not a horrendous angle to come in from because the pin is up in that back left section of the green, as you see. I think Van Dam might have a few issues with trying to keep this low underneath those very heavy branches overhead. She does generally have quite a low ball flight with her wedges though. She comes into the ball quite steeply.
Yeah, she's got a bunker to go over. What would be the optimum position for her to end up in? I mean, apart from close to the pin, but given that she's got to come in so low. Anywhere on the green?
Yeah, I just think you just aim for the middle of the green, keep it simple, pick a number, trust that it'll stay low under those branches.
Found a gap. That's excellent. That's a really good shot from Anne Van Dam. So she extricates herself from a potentially tricky situation.
And now it's over to you, Yuting Shi, as well. Wait to see where her lie ends up. It's up ahead on 11. Raxa. 141 to the left hole location today. Looks a little worried though. And we know what it's like over the back of
we do.
the 11th.
We do. So a tough shot coming up for Neil Raxa. Now to Shi. She does have a look at the pin.
She's close enough to this tree that she can pretty much just approach this as though it's a normal shot as well. That's sometimes the hardest thing to do, is convince yourself to forget all of the surrounds and almost picture just a very straightforward shot out of the rough.
And Van Dam has set the bar quite high. Can she respond? Oh. No, she can't.
Trouble for our leader, That is going to be a pretty tricky up and down from over on that back left section also.
So a big shot coming up for Xi, but first of all, it's Tanapol Bunyares with her second shot.
Only 70 yards to the front of the green, 92 to the pin. A little lackluster there from the rough.
One under for the day. So plenty of time to make a charge for the Thai teenager. Here's Lydia Hall.
Dogleg par for 13th hole. Whoop.
Watch out.
I think that might have taken a victim maybe from Lydia Hall. Not sure if we need a medic out on 13, but we'll chase that up.
We didn't drop the camera. Oh, another victim of that clingy fringe is Amelia Lewis. So she'll have a tricky putt for par. So back to 10, and she, having overcooked her approach shot from the rough, she's now assessing her options. Another look at the lie.
Yeah, that's certainly sitting well down in the rough. You can see how deep it is. Looks can be deceiving a little bit here. It is well downhill. There's actually a little mound up on the back of 10. That's much higher than the green, and this is up close to that. Best case scenario here, landing it just on the fringe and letting it roll down to the hole.
This is difficult. This is very difficult.
I think she was asking for it to sit.
Sit down.
Well, it'll be an uphill putt, but a little longer than she'd like on this pretty short par 4, 10th, only 320 yards, but it's certainly taken some victims today.
Go for birdie on 12. Lovely roll. Lovely putt.
Perfect putt there from Xiamen. After that double bogey on double bogey on the par 3, 11th.
Smiling again.
Noor Raksa from the back of 11 in the danger zone. And that'll keep on rolling. And that is the tricky part about that left pin on 11.
Tanapol Bunyares for birdie. It's an excellent putt, but it stays up, so she'll have to settle for par. Another one and stay 12 under.
Well, the cameraman's still standing, so I think he survived that one. This is Lydia Hall, second, into the 13th. Be a downhill putt, but it's a good chance from there.
Sorry. Now, big moment for Anne van Dam. This for birdie, this for a share of the lead.
Well, she might still have a share of the lead depending on Yu Ting Shi's next putt also. That was a potential two-shot swing here on the 10th.
Half of Van Dam, and she may well be thinking that's an opportunity missed, but It's yet to be decided. Nolraxa is for par on 11. Well, that is the penalty for overshooting the green. Bogey for the tie. So that's her third bogey of her round. Big moment here for Yu Ting-shi. She's only had one bogey so far this week. And this is to save par and preserve her one-stroke lead. First bogey of the round, second of the week. She drops back to 15 under, and it's a two-way tie at the top. She and Van Dam on 15 under.
25-year-old Amelia Lewis trying to save her par on the 11th. Not to be, and that's going to put a little damper on the spirits for Amelia after a red-hot 32 out on that front nine.
First bogey of the day for Amelia Lewis. All tied up at the top. A second bogey of the week for Yu Ting-shi. And it's her and Anne Van Dam, who are 3 shots ahead of the field. Leading group making their way to the 11th. And we've seen where not to go.
It's only 123 to the front, but with the pin 18 on, only 3 off that left side, it is very tempting. The wind is currently down off the right on 11. Pretty classic easterly out there this afternoon.
Tanapol Bunyares the first to go. Just the one birdie so far. Well, we know that's trouble.
She really made most of her birdies out on the front nine yesterday and plateaued a little bit on the back side. .141 to the pin. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is perhaps a wedge from Anne. It's actually less than that, 50 degree. Well, the crowd like it. Out to the right.
Yeah.
Safely on, which is certainly key on 11.
I did have a quick word with her this morning. Said, how'd you sleep? Said, fine. How'd you feel? Fine. Didn't take the earphones out.
Yeah, she was in the zone today. I watched her warm up and she was pretty focused out there. Quite measured, which is a good thing. You don't want too many quick, sharp, jumpy movements the morning of final round. Seems to be in control. a good-looking swing. And it's a great-looking
it's
shot.
wonderful. The best we've seen today on the 11th, and what a response.
Well, the call of Jai-O from the crowd, which literally means to add oil, but I think it means come on as well in Chinese.
Vicky Lang for birdie. She'll have that for par.
Currently 2 over for her round today, Vicky.
Amelia Lewis on the 12th. What's that? Par and a bogey on her back 9 so far has halted that charge that she was mounting. Lydia Hall for birdie.
Well, it would have been a pretty cheeky 3, wouldn't it, bouncing off the cameraman?
I saw her at breakfast this morning. She was looking at her iPhone. I said, and it had a dog in it. I said, "Are you talking to your dog?" She said, "No, I'm looking at a talking dog." Went, right, okay, fine.
Yeah, that dog was making some interesting noises as well, having a laugh about that after.
Tanapal Bunyaras having a look at what she has to do, and you can see how close Yu Ting Shi is to the pin. It is a brilliant shot and a brilliant response to that bogey on 10. Just sending a little message to Anne van Dam, who is also on the green but much further away. Haven't really seen anybody get this right, have we?
It's a really tough chip. You're coming from a lofted part of the rough, so you've got a downhill lie back to a slightly raised green that runs away from you. The ideal shot, maybe 2 feet short of the green, bounce it through.
We've seen 1 or 2 of those, yeah. Expression doesn't really change, but she'll be disappointed. Up ahead, Ai Chen Kuo.
I think she went left off the tee over by that huge tree on 13. You see there, it's going to be a bit of a tricky chip as well, down a ridge out of that first cut.
Lee for bogey. Well, she's going to drop at least a couple of shots. Now Van Dam on the 11th for birdie.
Pretty quiet since that eagle on the 4th hole. 5 pars and a bogey since then. It's a bit of a momentum change.
Oh, it's a really good putt. It's going to be par. So she does knock that in for a 3 on 11. 2 under for the day, 15 under for the tournament. Yeah, she's disappointed, but
well, you can't expect to make those
not
putts
really,
though, so need to shake that one off. This is Lewis, her second on the par 5 12th. Just getting a favourable kick forward there. She'll be chipping back across the slope, trying to set up an up and down for birdie.
This is for par. We've gone through the back of the green.
That's the first bogey of the day, at least. Still a little bit of length left in that one.
Let's get the feeling that her challenge is fading. She drops a shot. Goes back to 11 under. 4 behind the leaders. And it could be 5 if you think she pops in this birdie putt. So this to regain the lead. She's back to 16 under, and she has restored her one-stroke lead. Bogey on 10, birdie on 11, bring on 12.
She's fun to watch, and she's such a good player. Teenage phenom Yu Ting. She lives in Kyoto.
Third shot, downhill, and that's nicely done.
Job well done there.
Yep.
Trouble off the tee.
This is how it stands. Final day of the Xiamen Open International. A birdie on 11 for Yu Ting Shi, and she leads the tournament by a stroke. The par 5 12th, and with the honour is our leader, Yu Ting Shi.
She's staring this one down, and that is why trouble.
Oh.
There's a big water hazard down there on the left side. We saw Anne Van Dam throw her ball over that with her drive yesterday, but drama out on the 12th hole.
Hole on the 14th.
Oh, very nice there from Lid Hall.
She's got her iron play going. Oh, there's an iron for Anne Van Dam. Would that be the 3 again?
Yeah, she actually has kind of a driving iron in her bag.
Uh-huh.
I think it's about 29 degrees. This one leaking out to the right a little bit. Well, signs of nerves perhaps for the lead group out on 12. This was the turning point when Anne hit this green in 2, made birdie yesterday.
Raxa. Oh, nicely read. Good execution. Back to 6 under. She struggled a little bit today. Paul Bunyares, the 3rd to go in this test of temperament.
Well, I think the other two would pay good money for that drive right now. Both the leaders in trouble.
Amelia Lewis.
Nice rapport there with her local caddy. Saw them having a good little chat on the practice fairway early today. Seem to have a good, fun relationship.
6th birdie of her round.
Rasandrika on 14, trying to save her par. Not to be, and that is going to be a little tester left there as well, coming back for bogey. The kind of day she was looking for. 2 over for her round. It's great to see the crowds out in Xiamen. The locals coming and supporting the golf. It's got a nice vibe. I think everyone's just happy to be here and happy to have events like these go forward, given the tough times the city's had after Typhoon Moranti.
Can really pull the community together, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Disaster like that.
I think, you know, having the help from the government as well. Took about 5 days, but the government did send some people out to help with the golf course, stressing the importance of this event to their tourism.
Lydia Hall's having a decent day. I put the mockers on that, sorry Lydia. She stays at 7 under. And worth coming all this way for Lydia Hall. Lang to stay 4 under.
Well, that was unlucky. Fine gravity there on that top side.
So she drops a shot in a difficult day for the lady from Scotland. Now, back to 12, and this is Anne van Dam with her second.
Seem to have an okay lie over there, and I think that's just really turned it into a 3-shot hole even for Anne. It was definitely iron in hand yesterday.
By a ball in the lake.
Yeah, just trying to find the point of entry.
Right, right. So
there's a red hazard.
yeah, this is a problem for she. Can't take your eyes off this. One moment it's a birdie, next moment she's in the water. And Van Dam, 5 consecutive pars. Tanapol Bunyalis with bogey on 11, seemingly out of it.
Yeah, this is an interesting drop for Yu Ting Shi, because that tree right next to her is 253 off the tee. She averages 225. So they must have found the ball over in that hazard, or maybe it bounced around the corner, because I'm a bit perplexed as to how it finished on the other side of the hazard.
can. That's okay. So meanwhile, Tanapol Bunyaras has laid up. See how soft the ground is beneath her feet. She's carved it out.
Well, the troubles continue for our leader. In the water off the tee. Up to there. She'll be playing her fourth shot. It'll still be pretty lengthy for the 18-year-old.
She's got herself into a tight spot. It's going to be fascinating to see how she tries to get out of it as we're watching Ai Chen Kuo.
See the wind just starting to really pick up out there. They're starting to move those flags around quite a bit.
So it's all happening out there.
Racks up 2 over for her round today. Second into 13.
Nicely judged shot from the Thai, who played in the penultimate group yesterday, but fell away. 15.
163 yards to the pin today. Whole location well in that back right corner. Oh my, that is going to be, well, tricky is probably an understatement.
Problems for Lydia Hall. And Van Dam. This is her third shot. She missed the fairway with her drive. She's in relatively good shape.
Needs to capitalise on Xi's issues. That is an unforced error there, catching a bit of a flyer on the edge of the fairway.
And the door was ajar.
She got off to such a red hot start, 3 under through the first 4 holes.
Kuo from distance. She'll have that for par. Now Yuting Xi, who is playing her fourth shot. On this par 5 12th.
She has a nice angle to this front left hole location, straight back into the wind from where she is. This is a pitching wedge. There will be work to do even to 2-putt from there. So troubles for our leader. She'll have a putt for par, albeit a long one over a ridge.
A little bit troubled, Yu Ting-shi. Not so. Tanapol Bunyaras, who is about to play her third shot.
And we might find ourselves looking at a bit of a battle for third place as well. Amelia Lewis just flying up that leaderboard today. Super Miss San Chang posting 5 under 67, so she's back at 7 under, but it really is these 4 players up in their own league at the moment.
Perhaps put off by a gust of wind. Quite exposed, this green.
Looks like a good strike.
It's a birdie opportunity for Tanapol Bunyaras. Lydia Hall having overshot the green on 15. Has played a very nice shot.
She really had to get creative with that one. Chen Kuo on the 14th. She'll remain at 7 under par for the tournament. Double bogey back on the 11th really put a damper on her round.
And Van Dam having a look from behind the pin. Is this puttable?
If it is, she'll probably do it, to be honest with you. We've seen Anne putt from around the greens before. It's just so hard to predict out of the Bermuda fringe. Interesting putt this, back down the hill. There's a ridge on the left, small mound on the right. Rake left to right.
Took a hop.
Took a big hop, didn't it?
Could have been worse.
Well, the 2 players at the top just making a bit of a mess of this reachable par 5 12th. It's up ahead on the next. Amelia Lewis, her second.
She's lurking, Amelia Lewis. Slight miscalculation. This would be a good par for Lydia Hall. Having overshot the green. Not to be. A drop shot for Lydia Hall. Second bogey of the round, and a double bogey in there as well. A little shake of the head. Big putt coming up for she. This is for par. Oh, superb! Superb! What a par save!
How was that a 5? That's what you call a jungle 5, I think.
Wow, she's dodged one there. Wow. Now the pressure goes back onto Anne Van Dam.
Her putt just got a little bit longer. Anne Van Dam playing safe and still has about 5 or 6 feet for her par save.
I wonder how seminal that moment may be.
gave it a run. Playing this hole a little more conventionally than the other two.
Slightly.
At the end of the day, you know, you wonder looking back at the pivotal moments of a final round, and I think we're looking at one right now.
Yeah.
Yu Ting's bogey on 10, then her birdie on 11, and now that huge par save. Over to you, Anne van Dam.
Oh, she's held her nerve and hold the putt.
And she knew it too. You could see that was an important moment there. Can't give up a 2-shot lead going to the final 6 holes against someone who's just so solid like Yu Ting Shi.
Well, the 12th was a test of temperament and both of them have passed it, but it's Yu Ting Shi who holds the lead. She has a stroke advantage over Anne van Dam. Connie Chen, clubhouse with the 69, 4 under for the tournament. Form has been elusive for her so far this season. Level par for Florentina Parker. 2 over for the day. Level 2 for Isabel Bueno, a winner on tour this year. Our leader has the honour. You wouldn't have predicted that after the drives on 12, but here she is on 13. Her 1-stroke lead intact.
Well, that's a little bit more like the Yu Ting Shi we've seen over the last 3 rounds. Usually deadly accurate off the tee.
Sashok for birdie.
It's 1 under par for her round today. Just the 1 birdie on the card. And Van Dam, iron in hand. Birdied this hole yesterday, could use another one right now. Well, we know the cameraman's in range. One coming up a little bit short though.
Yeah, that's okay from Anne van Dam. Worth emphasising how young these 3 ladies are. 2 18-year-olds and a 21-year-old. But all playing with a great deal of maturity.
And all of them were very good from a young age. You know, Anne van Dam picked up national titles back in the Netherlands at the age of 9, 12, 18 and the under 21 section. And then you've got Yu Ting Shi, who had 8 top 5s before the age of 16 on the CLPGA. So 2 young teenage stars coming to the forefront of professional golf.
Tanapol Bunyaras playing on the LPGA as a teenager, so you know, you're looking at the future.
was for birdie. Dare say it didn't go in. Confirmation there. It will be a par on 13 for Noraksa. It's the one top 10 for her so far on the CLPGA this year. Chen Kuo for birdie.
Now Amelia, let's just wait for Kuo just to pop that one away. Stays at 7 under. Now Amelia Lewis, having overshot the green, this for par.
She will slip down into a tie for third. 2 bogeys in the last 3 holes for Amelia Lewis.
Just running out of holes, Amelia Lewis.
Lydia Hall on 16. It's a nice part of the golf course this, 16, 17, 18. Back towards the clubhouse, really builds the tension for the final flourish.
Bogey for Amelia Lewis. Second in 3 holes, and her momentum has been halted and her chances are fading. Not so this lady. And Van Dam. Still very much in the hunt. She won a couple of times in the Access Series. One in Belgium back in July, came from a shot back to win by 3. Her other victory last year was in Finland, when she began the day with an 8-shot lead and had to hold her nerve. Eventually won by 3. She's also, as we've mentioned before, played Junior Solheim Cup, and you have to have some temperament to do well in that. And she did win her singles match.
And she also went up against another incredible youngster, Alison Lee, who was on the US Solheim Cup team for the seniors last year, 2015.
Oh,
Great look at the angle Anne's facing.
She doesn't like it.
Well, it's an opportunity missed, but at least it's a putt. She seems to be getting a little on edge out there, perhaps, on this backside. Needs to stay positive. Amelia Lewis with driver on the short par 4, 14. That's skipping through the trees. She's going to have a very nice angle to that back right hole location.
This is our leader.
Wind's a little down off the right. There's a ridge on that left side, splitting the left right halves in 2. Need to be a little bit left of this pin if possible. Sounded a little thin, but she'll get away with it.
And it's coming round nicely. Advantage she.
She's just been so impressive the last 3 days. Shows a maturity much greater than her years. Just the 2 bogeys on the card, and this is a golf course that can punish you for those missed shots.
Similar angle for Tanapol Bunyaris.
Not so much a similar result. Just the one bogey, one birdie on the card today. Currently level par for the round. This over the back of 16, Vicky Lang. Chipping back up the slope.
Sounded nice.
Oh,
Great shot. Great shot from Vicky Lang.
she's had a rough few years, Vicky. Came shooting out of the blocks, you know, back in 2010, had 2 second-place finishes in Switzerland and Finland, and second place in Sanya in 2011, but it's good to see her back up close to the top of the leaderboard.
Tricky for Nilraxa.
Yeah, I think this tree is almost directly in line between she and the pin. Have to go a little left of it. Certainly kept it low. Well, it needs to settle down, but I think she knows she might have got away with it there. Nilraxa, caddy and player both sharing a bit of a chuckle.
Yeah, seeing the funny side.
Wasn't exactly the picture they had drawn in their minds, I don't think.
Well, she's got away with it.
Nice to see from the 25-year-old.
Oh,
That would have been a very nice bounce back birdie after that bogey on 15 for Lidhall.
she stays at 6 under. Currently tied for 9th, so set for a top 10 finish. Amelia Lewis was probably hoping for a little bit more than that at the turn after 5 consecutive birdies, but 2 bogeys on the back 9 have cramped her style somewhat. She's 5 behind the leader.
Pin today, 22 paces on, 4 from the right, up in that back plateau. 14, not dissimilar to yesterday's hole location.
4 under for the day.
Well, a little beige by her lofty standards out there today.
Birdie putt for Tanapol Bunyaras.
It's a pretty good effort though. Back down the slope.
Big moment for Anne van Dam. Decent effort from there.
Provided Anne can get through the 15th hole, aside from that, 4 out of the last 5 holes set up for a draw and favours a draw. I'd be surprised if we didn't see a pull driver out of the bag on at least one of the 3 holes that go right to left. So it's just a question of whether or not she sticks to the same game plan she's had in previous days, or whether she plays a little bit more conservatively like she did in the 12th, which didn't really pay off so much. Still had a 6-foot putt for par.
She has this for birdie. And this would increase her lead to 2 shots. Has he got the legs? Body language if the caddy says no. She remains on 16 under. This is for par. As you were as well for Tanapol Bunyares. She stays at 11 under. Raxa.
Oh, hello. Oh, that would have been, well, an unconventional birdie from Raxa, but she'll take her tap-in par nonetheless on 14. That's a bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Derry putting from the fringe. Playing with Ai-Chen Kuo.
Little work left to do there for Val Derry to save her par on 16.
Now can Amelia Lewis start a late charge with a birdie here on 14?
Been a tale of 2 nines for Amelia, really. 5 under par on that front 9 and 1 over par for the back so far. Now the final group on the short par for 14th. Back up the hill, a slight dog leg left. Tree trouble in the middle of the fairway. Well.
Oh.
Day 2, Yu Ting Shi hit the tree, ended up about 2 meters away from where she started. So a similar spot there for our leader. And, well, a real chance here for Anne van Dam, being such a long player. Was only 30 meters short of this green in in one yesterday.
Well, are the nerves getting to this group? Can Anne van Dam produce when she needs to?
She likes the look of it.
She's going to love the look of that. That really is very close to the green. And Anne van Dam's length comes to the fore.
That was huge. That is a massive drive. She says that her longest drive is 312 yards, but that has to be at least very close to that number. The hole itself, 370. She's got about, what, 20 metres to the front of the green there?
Wow.
Brilliant.
Tanapol Bunyares has found the fairway.
Well, could we see another potential 2-shot swing, depending on how Yu Ting Shi can get herself out of the bunker and the trees? Yu Okamura, she's jumping up the leaderboard today. Will be around 69, I believe, for the Japan native. One of the big movers of the day, bogey free for her round.
Kuo on 16. That was for birdie. And we've talked a lot about the typhoon. What it did was destroyed the trees here. Almost 10,000 taken out, and you were amazed at how different the golf course looked.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few holes, 14 being one of them that the leaders are on now. Looked a lot different. The canopy really came into play. The tree trouble was much more apparent.
Derry makes par on 16.
But it knocked out power to over 1 million homes in Xiamen. It was a really wide-reaching problem, as you can imagine. Winds up around 110 miles per hour. Quite a bit of devastation.
Yu Ting-shi leads by a shot, but it could be about to change. Tanapol Bunyares level through the day, very steady, but not making an impression on the leaders. Amelia Lewis threatened, just falling away on her back nine. Real mixture of scores. Yan Lu, 4 over for the day. Vicky Lang, 3 over for the day. Nasanderika, also 3 over. Maha Hadawi. She promised much earlier in the week. So too did Hyunseo Kang. She's finished level par after a 3 over 75 on this final day of the Xiamen Open International. The weather has been fantastic. Conditions ideal. And we've been rewarded with some fabulous golf. And it's been a ding-dong battle at the top. And there's more twists and turns to come. Anne van Dam in good shape. On 14, not so Yu Ting-shi. And that is Shi's ball.
There is a gap. It is a very tricky lie to one of the shallowest parts of the green over on that right edge.
Well, she keeps getting herself into trouble. She managed to get out of it on 12.
She made a great par here on day 2. Maybe only a yard or 2 away from where she is now.
Clean contact.
Anywhere on the green would have been a good result.
Yeah.
It will be a little elevation change for that putt back up the slope.
May just have caught a glimpse of how close Anne van Dam was to the green. It is a tremendous advantage. First, though, it'll be Tanapol Bunyaras to play her second shot. She has epitomised the word steady today. It's the 1 bogey on 11. Birdie on 3. And that kind of sums up her day, nearly but not quite.
Yeah, you really can't afford to miss greens with wedge in hand, particularly on the back 9 of a final round when you're in contention. You really do have a battle for the trophy and a battle for 3rd place as well. Well, Raxa here on 15, 163 to the pin. Will that settle down? Just rolling through a little bit. Very hard to hold that green.
Oh, Numan par.
After a 2 over par 74 yesterday, really just never got it going.
Now, Anne van Dam. This is a big moment for the 21-year-old. This is an opportunity. Can she take it? Well, it's okay. She has that for birdie.
It looked as though she caught that a little heavy to me. Never really sprung off the face correctly.
Now Amelia Lewis, who is currently tied for third.
She was quizzing me earlier today on the range about all of the facts I know about her, and she said, what's my favourite TV show? And I said, I've probably got it in my notes. And sure enough, I look back, it's Revenge and 24, just in case anyone else is wondering. So got a thing or two to say about that, Amelia Lewis. Jessica Bradley there. They were teammates at Lynn University, she and Maha Hadawi, playing alongside each other.
Tanapol Bunyares missed the green with her approach. And she'll have that for par. And that to stay 11 under in a tie for third place with Amelia Lewis. So that battle is tight as well.
Does a lot of work with Michael Dickey, Yu-Ting Shi, who's based out at Shanghai Qijong Garden Golf Club, the site of the Buick Championship earlier this year on the LET. He's done loads for female golf in China. He brought a few players actually over, Shiyu Lin, Jia Yun Li as well, to the LET back in 2013. Really got them travelling abroad, got them comfortable to playing on different types of grass and golf courses as well. It's been so instrumental in the rise of Chinese women's golf.
They have a fantastic role model as well in Shanshan.
They do. It's hard to find a better role model, to be honest with you. Her demeanour and ability and willingness to give back is almost second to none.
We saw her roll in a long putt to save par on 12. This is for birdie on 14.
Well, it certainly looked good for a very long time. That was a tricky putt up over the ridge.
She hasn't left many short, has she, even though the greens are playing quite slow. Now Ashok, who is currently tied for 10th and hoping to continue her terrific run of top 10 finishes.
Currently 16 pars and just the one birdie on her card today, so she's been very consistent.
And Van Dam for a share of the lead. Oh, it's another opportunity that goes by the by.
Well,
just
really
not dropping.
Hasn't done anything since that eagle on the 4th. Just waiting for that momentum change that hasn't yet come.
8th consecutive par for Van Dam, and the body language is just a little bit downbeat. Still only one shot behind. Amelia Lewis is 5 behind the leader.
Oh, trouble
one short.
there.
This is for par. Safely accomplished, motoring along, but nothing special. Not making an impression on the leaders. She for par.
She's been so rock solid from this length all week.
Oh, well, in it goes.
Certainly
I don't think she was convinced.
Gave the heart a start there. You think she
Oh.
needing every ounce of body language to get that one to drop.
Oh, as soon as she went down on her haunches, I thought, oh, maybe I've missed that, but it's another par.
Noraxa from over the back on the par 3, 15th. Tidy there. Hasn't been her day though. Currently 2 over par for the round, 6 under total for the 25-year-old from Bangkok. Best finish on the order of merit. Came back in 2013 when she finished 11th. Hasn't really challenged since then.
Chen on the 18th. It's a good chip.
Very nice there from the 19-year-old from Chinese Taipei. And 2 top sixes from 2 attempts out here on the CLPGA. Lewis for par. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
Anapol Boon-Yaris has outright 3rd place.
Well, she's been the steadier of the two. But it's as you were through 14 holes. Yu Ting-shi maintains her 1-stroke advantage on the final day of the Xiamen Open International at the Orient Golf and Country Club. Par 3 15th.
Not surprising to see it playing over par. This whole location is almost inaccessible up on that back right corner with the wind down a little off the right as well. Only 3 birdies for the entire day today.
So birdies at a premium.
.139 to the front, 163 to the pin. Well, it's not a costly miss there.
But once again, there's an opportunity here for Anne van Dam, and she's been presented with 2 or 3 and hasn't taken them. And sooner or later, if she's to overhaul Yu Ting-shi, she's going to have to take one of them.
Well, the advantage Anne has here is that she's going to have 2 or 3 clubs less than Yu Ting-shi. However, Anne does favour a draw, and this hole certainly favours a fade. So she's going to have to do a little ball shaping on this one to get it close.
Can she manufacture a shot? Manufacture a birdie? Gets a big hop.
That's about as good as you're going to get on that hole right now with the wind downwind. If you land it between the fringe and the pin, it kicks forward. We've seen so many people over the back here on 15, but it will be a birdie putt for Anne van Dam. She's given herself a chance to try and catch Yu Tingshi, one shot ahead.
Paul Bunyaras, who's all alone in third place. She gets a nice hop as well. Oh!
That was a brilliant shot, giving the crowd something to cheer for out on the 15th.
Oh, a couple of birdie opportunities on a really tough hole. Amelia Lewis, having dropped a shot on 15.
Real chance for Amelia, but a chance maybe wasted there.
She got herself into a good position after her front nine, didn't she? She just hasn't been able to capitalise on it, maybe just pushing a little bit too much, and just the one birdie, but 3 bogeys so far on her back nine. Ashok 6 under, around a 71. Looking at another top 10 finish. She's going along very nicely.
She's putting together a nice streak of top 10s over the last 3 months. I think the Olympic debut really gave Adithi a big boost in confidence. Two of the best birdie chances we've seen all day on 15 coming from this final group. Of the last 4 holes on the golf course, this is the one that, in theory, should suit Anne Van Dam's eyes the least. Just because she can get away with her draw on 17 and 18. They both slight dog legs left. 16, she'll have iron in hand off the tee. If this rolls in, well, we could see a change at the top of the leaderboard.
Be a psychological blow as well.
Look at this chip, Yu Tingshi. Carry it just onto the green, let it roll out. It's downhill and down grain where she's chipping.
Well, she's put herself under pressure in the last few holes. She stood up to it, but here she is again with a potentially very tricky shot, with her direct opponent in good shape. Pretty useful, but it's another opportunity for Anne Van Dam when she comes to putt. Chen on 18. It's around a 69 for Yuju Chen from Chinese Taipei.
Looks as though it's going to be maybe another top 6 finish for her. Her record on the CLPGA will continue.
Anne Van Dam likes to play quickly, but she's going to take her time with this one. This is a really big moment. 3 par 4s to come after this. Just composing herself.
I just took a little look at the grain there as well. All important on these Bermuda greens.
Bobbles its way past the hole. She just can't seem to get them in. It's really frustrating.
Well, you can tell she's getting frustrated as well. And this is where you need to start thinking of this as more of a match play situation. I'm one down with 3 holes to play.
Right.
Just trying to switch it around, get something going. She looks as though she's been a bit hard on herself out on this back nine, given that she's just 1 stroke off the lead.
That was for birdie for Lydia Hall. So after a superb tee shot from Tanapol Bunyanis, this is for birdie. She too has pushed it past. That was an opportunity for her to consolidate 3rd place.
It's been 12 holes since her last birdie as well, and I'm sure she's all too aware of that fact. Really picked up at least half a stroke on the field there, and that dropped on 15.
Another par. She stays at 11 under. 1 shot ahead of Amelia Lewis, who is in 4th place. Then it gets very tight. 5 players on 7 under. This should be routine. And it is. So par for she. She stays at 16 under and maintains her 1-stroke lead with 3 to play. Amelia Lewis for a share of 3rd place.
Bit of a misread there from the Jacksonville native. Up ahead on 18, Rasandarika. It's for her par.
3 over for the 3 over for the day, and it thought about going in the side door. One under for the tournament, but not the final round she was looking for.
Tough day for the 22-year-old. Racks up for birdie. 16.
She too has had a difficult day. 2 over.
Driver in hand for our leader. Slight dog leg round to the right, the 16th. 372 yards off the tee. There are fairway bunkers right and left.
No margin for error now.
Well, job one done on 16. Fairway check. Lydia Hall taps in for a round of 70.
Currently tied for 5th. Lydia Hall, good week for her. Van Dam goes with an iron once again.
That looked a little bit more assertive there from Anne. That's what she needs. Split the middle there on 16. Just a short iron in hand from there.
Top 2 safely away.
This is one of the holes on the golf course that's really changed complexion after the typhoon. There used to be so many dense trees all along the right-hand side that really came into play and would stop the ball very quickly if you went anywhere near them.
Valderi trying to get into that group who are on 7 under and tied for 5th spot, and she's given herself an opportunity to do just that.
Level par for her round today. 2014 Turkish Ladies Open champion.
Just had the one top 10 this year, so another one very welcome.
Tee shot here on 17 for Amelia Lewis. Right in the mayor's office. Bit of a different story here for Ai-Chen Kuo on 18. Her 3rd shot. Tree trouble, no doubt.
Oh, and more trouble for Kuo. We're on the final lap, and it's Yuting Shi who holds the lead. She's 16 under par, 1 ahead of Anne Van Dam. Norman Park, 1 under for the day, 5 under for the tournament. Sophie Walker 1 under for the day, 4 under for the tournament. Now, we saw Kuo go into the bunker. This is her 4th shot.
And the dramas continue. This is getting further away by the second.
It's costing her money. She is one of those tied for 5th on 7 under, but not for much longer. She was at the beginning of the day set for her best result of the year, but her problems on 18 may well end her hopes of top 10 finish.
Coming down to the pointy end of the tournament. A lot of money up for grabs this week, 10% of which is being donated back to the local efforts here in Xiamen. Restore city after tragic Typhoon Moranti just a few weeks ago.
It was devastating. 18 people lost their lives. Big clean-up started straight away. And I think the city needed to get back to normal, and having a golf tournament is doing just that.
Very much so, and it's a testament again to everyone involved here at Orient Golf and Country Club that they could do it in such a short period of time. It was a completely unanimous vote by the players during during our players meeting in Spain to give back to the city, because it's always been so generous to women's golf here. Xiamen.
So every shot is crucial from here on in. This is our leader. She's had to duck and dive on this back nine.
She's hit 87% of greens in regulation so far this week. Been a little bit shakier out there today.
She has 2 career wins. She knows what she's doing, but this is a step up. Pressure is a bit more intense.
Well, she's leaked it out to the right. Perhaps an opportunity missed there to apply a little bit of pressure on Anne van Dam.
Tanapol Bunyares next to go. That would have looked very good in the air.
Well, she's still got her eye in, looking at that outright third position. Currently 1 stroke ahead of Amelia Lewis at 10 under par. Speaking of which.
Oh, and Amelia turns away in disgust.
She was actually pretty lucky there that that didn't bounce right down into that bunker. It was a favourable kick for the young American.
Jorgensen on 18.
1 under par for her round. This one back up the slope. She's given it a good hit.
Oh!
Well, she better go move that hole back a foot or two. Struggles for par for the Dane.
Van Dam willing it down. Oh, it's brilliant from Anne van Dam. Absolutely brilliant. She delivers under pressure.
That was exactly what she needed. Straight at the pin, a big boost in confidence going into those last 2 holes. Still needs to drop the putt, but that is just what the doctor ordered.
Well, well.
Trying to stop the damage here. Ai Chen Kuo could use this to drop. Won't be, and it's going to be a double bogey finish for Kuo. And very costly at that. Round of 73 today.
Her second double bogey of the round.
That's the thing about this golf course. You just can't afford to miss some of these pins in the wrong position, because the lies in this Bermuda rough are very varying.
Well, as Anne van Dam repairs her pitch mark, this was her approach. Right at the pin. And it very nearly went in. But it's a brilliant approach shot, and it really sets it up. Advantage Van Dam. She's the one that needs to press. She's the one that needs to push.
Well, dare I say it, during the panel discussion we had with some players and officials this morning, the word playoff was uttered. Could be signs of the future, but certainly Drama unfolding here on the 16th.
Well, we still have lots of golf to go. And there's been so many twists and turns on this back nine. So many opportunities offered up and so many not taken. But this is the best of the lot for Anne van Dam. But if there's one thing that Yu Ting Shi is excellent at, it's putting. We saw her on the 12th. She can hold them from anywhere.
Well, should there be a playoff, it will be up the 18th hole. Not surprising, given the outcomes we've seen unfold on the 18th in the past 2 years.
She for birdie. This to get to 17 under. It's straightened up, but not enough.
Over to you, Anne van Dam. That was a great putt, though. You, in those conditions, to give it a run.
Derry for birdie and very nearly joining that group on 7 under par.
Well, it will be a level par round of 72 for Val Derry. It's the 3 birdies on the card for the day.
Tanapol Bunyaras for birdie. Get her to 12 under. Oh, lovely putt. Lovely putt from the tie. So she's making 3rd place all her own.
Currently has 2 shots clear now of Amelia Lewis back in 4th place. This on 18 for par. Jorgensen. That's a good 2 putt.
Good week for Jorgensen.
Nice fight back, 2 birdies on the back 9.
Now to the main event. Anne van Dam. This for a share of the lead. And in it goes. We're all tied up. 16 under par.
She knows how big that putt was. That was a massive birdie and a real potential momentum change here. Going into 2 holes that I know she's got a lot of confidence coming down. She was shaky from this distance on the 14th. Just caught the edge.
So, suddenly, this is to hold on to a share of the lead. She makes no mistake. It couldn't be tighter. 2 to play. And Yuting Shi and Anne van Dam are tied at the top.
She needs a birdie or two coming down the stretch here. Amelia Lewis. This from off the green on 17. It's a good pace, but looks as though Tanapol Boon-Yaris might be in pole position for third place now.
That birdie on 16 for Tanapol Boon-Yaris has given her a 2-shot cushion in third place. And there's confirmation of it. But look at the top. Blow for blow, head to head. Anne van Dam and Yuting Shi, 3 under for the day. The both of them. And the both of them, 16 under par. Just 17 and 18 to play. Driver for Anne van Dam. No messing around now.
She doesn't like this one.
Oh.
It is headed left, and that is left of the cart path down on 17. Not a dissimilar place to where she was yesterday, but I think this is even further left.
She missed both fairways yesterday with driver, 17 and 18.
Yeah, she has a tendency, Anne, when she really goes for it, to kind of overcook her draw just a little bit. This with the wind off the right on 17 as well, accentuating that fact.
Is that just a little technical fault that creeps in under pressure, or?
She has a tendency to get quite active with her lower body, so it's really a timing thing, getting the hands back to square.
Tanapol Boon-Yaris, well, she's been playing gooseberry pretty much all day, but this is a big boost for her. She has struggled over in America, having won her tour card on the LPGA, but coming back to Asia and doing well will give her confidence. She is going with driver, and anywhere on the fairway will do. Gives it a look up and down. And she has found another fairway. Before the tee shots, I was going to ask you, who do you favour? Who do you fancy?
Well, I mean, it's kind of 50-50 right now. Yuting Shi has been in contention on this golf course before, back in 2011. Finished tie for 4th in the China Open. Finished behind Shan Feng and Pornanong Patlin, mind you. So, as an amateur and, well, just 12 years of age at the time, she certainly has some experience coming down the stretch here, but it all really depends on Anne van Dam's ability to hit the fairway and take advantage of that length she has. But it is a head-to-head battle down the last 2 holes here at the Orient Golf and Country Club. 4 shots clear of 3rd place.
You walk away from the clubhouse on 17, down the hill. And Anne van Dam will discover her fate. Well, those two are walking down the middle of the fairway. So here is Anne van Dam.
Just having a little chat to her roommate there, Amelia Lewis.
So, is she on the 18th fairway? She's on the fairway, so she can place it, so that's in her favour.
Well, it's going to take her a little while to get the yardage from over here. Pretty sure this one's not in the yardage book. She's actually going to have a clear angle into the pin, but it will be running all away from her on the green.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the pacing can begin. Long stride. Anne van Dam, 182 centimetres tall. That's a very athletic figure.
Nearly back on the 17th.
Well, that's the thing. It's a complete rough carry as well. She's got no fairway to work with at all. If she misses the green, it'll either be in the fringe or in the rough, or potentially in that bunker that's over on the right-hand side of the green.
I wonder if that pylon, the floodlights, we play night golf here.
Well, maybe those floodlights can shed some light on the situation here on 17.
So Anne van Dam is going to wait for the other two to play. I mean, she has hit a very long drive, even if it is a little bit wayward. And here is our co-leader, Yu Ting Shi. Just a little bit of breeze. Just caught the fringe and comes round very nicely, and that's a lovely result.
Certainly
for Yu Ting Shi.
Tips the scales in her favour. That's going to be an uphill putt for birdie. And it's going to take a touch of magic for Anne van Dam to get anywhere near as close from over on this 18th fairway.
Lovely distance control from Yu Ting Shi. So Tanapol Bunyaris will play first. She too is on the right fairway. Oh, and she's played an even better shot! Magnificent eagle! Wow!
Good job.
Good job indeed from Panarat Tanapol Bunyaris. Brilliant golf, a brilliant shot. Might even put her in the mix.
It'll shoot her up to 14 under par, and that is 3 picked up shots in the last 2 holes for Panarat. That was picture perfect.
Brilliant stuff from the teenage Thai. And that is Anne van Dam's approach shot to 17. And she's inside Yu Ting Shi. Wow. Top class. All round. And a nice touch there.
I know Panarat's ball found the hole, but this is also an incredible shot from Anne van Dam under the circumstances onto a downhill lie from the next postcode. I'm not even sure if she was in Xiamen from where she was hitting. And this is how it unfolded.
She runs after to have a look. You can just see the top of the flag. She gets to the brow of the hill.
She would have been very nicely surprised.
She's gonna love it.
Well, you can't complain about the level of golf we're seeing in this last few holes. I'm amazed Anne van Dam even got that on the green. And then we got to see an eagle as well.
It's a putting contest on 17. First to go, Yu Ting Shi. Her drive finds the middle of the fairway. Her approach shot is pin high. Anne van Dam flays it onto the 18th fairway, but produces a wonderful approach shot.
How do you feel if you're Yu Ting Shi, if you hit a shot to 12 feet on 17 and you're first to play?
Well, to produce this standard at this stage of the tournament, and again, these two are very young and they're playing with such maturity, such poise. There's no doubt who the crowd are willing to win. It's Anne van Dam who's nearer to the hole on 17. This would be a body blow. Should it go in? Pressure on Anne van Dam. Oh, she's done it! Once again, she delivers under pressure. And now the focus switches to Anne van Dam. Yu Ting Shi moves to 17 under.
It's the kind of golf that keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Wow.
And with two such different approaches from Anne van Dam, Yu Ting Shi. This one of the biggest putts in Anne van Dam's career.
Take a deep breath, Anne. Oh! Wow. That's what it means to her. The emotion is flowing now. All square, one to play. Oh.
Back-to-back birdies.
Wow.
From a different fairway. I mean, 4 under on that hole for the group. Not too shabby.
Hats off to all three of them.
Racks up from the back of 18. Bit of a misjudgment there. That's the story of her day, really, so far. 2 over par for the round.
Bunyaris was threatening to barge in on the leadership contest. Now she's 4 shots off 3rd place.
She's got a 3-shot buffer over those currently in a tied for 5th place, Lydia Hall, Yuju Chen and Supamas Sanchang.
You know, Amelia, well, what do you think her thoughts will be, having got herself into that position with a stunning front 9?
Amelia plays to win, so she goes out knowing that she can go low. She has finished well in multiple final rounds. She's one of those players that can post a 65. Today just wasn't the day that that happened.
Birdies for Xi and Van Dam on 17. But it's Tanapol Bunyaris who has the honour after her eagle.
We talk about big shots. Van Dam can find the fairway with this driver. Certainly be her advantage. Such incredible length off the tee. Wind's a little off the left. It's headed a little right. Oh, if there is a side of the fairway to miss on 18, it is over to that right-hand side. It opens up the back left hole location. There's 2 very punishing bunkers front left of the 18th green. Can't afford to bring those into play.
So in the rough, but she's opened up the green. Word comes back that the lie is okay. Now her heart must be pumping as well.
This one's headed right as well.
All we know is it's going to be shorter right.
Very true. And it is to the player's advantage on 18 that a lot of the trees, sadly, lost a few limbs in the typhoon. It really opened up the tee shot. Used to be severely punished if you missed this fairway, but it's a little bit more friendly nowadays.
That is similar to last year as we watch Lou.
She was the #1 Chinese amateur when she turned pro, but it's been a tough day at the office for the 18-year-old. 79 for the big hitting phenom.
Raxa. She's going to drop a shot on 18. May well push her out of the top 10. Amelia Lewis, it's a case of what could have been for the American. That's a top 5 finish. She'll end up with a 4th spot. And 13,500 euros. And I suspect Amelia will be one of those, like a lot of the girls, in fact all of the girls, who will be only too happy to donate 10% of her winnings.
Absolutely. Amelia is always willing to give back when possible. It will be Yuting Shi who is first to hit, which is much in line with the common theme of the day. The averaging around 225 off the tee, the longest player, but she has been deadly accurate during this tournament.
Nothing in front of Anne van Dam. She's got a clear look at the pin, hasn't she?
She does, and she is a long way up there. You can see Anne van Dam on the left of screen. She's got a good 60 or 70 yards advantage on Yuting Shi here.
This is where it could really count.
Anne van Dam will have a short iron in hand. Yuting Shi here with a hybrid out of the rough. She's going to have to go a little right of the pin here. She can't go straight at the flag. Best case scenario, be anything inside 15 to 20 feet putting back across the green.
Just the one blemish on the card yesterday, and it came here at 18. She can't afford another one. She's got to get this absolutely right.
Started right.
Oh.
And that is miles to the right. That is a huge unforced error there from Yuting Shi. And all of a sudden, Anne van Dam is sitting quite pretty up ahead in the rough. That's the first real missed shot we've seen from Yuting Shi all week.
I'm almost speechless because she has been really good all week, but that has gone well awry. Tanapol Bunyares. No, not another eagle.
Dare we ask for too much, Nigel?
If she did.
Stranger things have happened. Sophie Walker in Spain just a few weeks back, holed out on 18. Gave the crowd something to yell for.
Lovely distance control. She sets herself up for a birdie opportunity, but it's now all about Anne van Dam. In previous holes, the door has been ajar. It's now wide open.
The lie looks decent.
Oh, and on it comes, on it comes.
Needs to settle down. It's going to be a very slippery putt from up in that back left corner, but I know who I'd rather be.
Yes, absolutely.
Yuting Shi is going to have at least 40 yards back into this hole location. She is way right. The hole is way left on the green.
You can't write her off, though. Wonder what's going through her mind. And, well, she's an interested observer. There's been so many twists and turns in this back nine.
Yeah, when you look at what happened back on 12, Yu Ting-shi left in the water, and Van Dam with an iron in hand went right. They both somehow managed to get a par out of that. Then obviously a few changes since then, but that shot on 16 from Anne Van Dam really stepped it up a notch, leading to a birdie. How about the drama of the 17th hole?
Yeah.
Hard to see a group play a hole in a more exciting fashion than that.
These are young players playing out of their skin.
Yeah, their combined age is 57 for the entire group, so that's not too shabby.
Oh, I wish you hadn't said that. But they have been a joy to watch, and there is more to come. But as I said, you can't write this lady off.
Well, this is the view. Lies ahead of Yu Ting-shi. She's got a lot of green to play with, but the ball does seem to be sitting down a little bit. Bunker obviously right in the way. I know Amelia Lewis loves practicing shots out of troublesome situations. I wonder if Yu Ting-shi takes a similar approach. Back into the wind.
Her weapon of choice has been selected. It's now down to her. It was a big shot with the fairway wood out of the rough, and she fluffed her lines. She can't afford to do so again.
Needs to land this a little right of the pin. Will roll substantially right to left once it hits the putting surface.
This is her third shot. To the par 4 18th. Oh, it took a massive hop, and it's a good one, but just runs on and runs on through.
That was about...
She looks disappointed.
That was about a foot or two off being perfect, though. It just got that huge kick forward. Had she landed that a yard longer, it would have been a much softer bounce. I bet she's wishing that she was actually on the green as well. This Bermuda rough can kick your ball left and right, even from the fringe.
So, both lying off the green, but she is there for 3, and Van Dam is there for 2.
Preferred lies this week, so Yu Ting-shi is able to mark her ball. The tournament lies in the hands of this lady on screen right now, the 21-year-old Anne Van Dam from the Netherlands. This is a putt for the win for Anne Van Dam.
For her maiden title. It takes a bobble or two and runs on past the hole.
But it will be an uphill 2.5-foot putt for Anne van Dam. They're the kind of tap-ins that you want left in this kind of situation. But what can the 18-year-old Yuting Shi produce? Will be Tanapol Bunyaris to putt first. We think. Hard to tell from this angle.
Looks like it might be she to go first. She walks away from her ball. Tanapol Bunyaris to go first. For birdie. So she will tap in. $14 under, round of 69. Very consistent week for the teenager from Thailand.
And a nice little final flourish there. 3 under for the last 3 holes.
This pretty much has to go in.
I don't think Yuting Shi can bank on Anne van Dam missing her par putt.
Tense moments around the 18th green here at the Orient Golf and Country Club in Xiamen.
It's downhill.
One or two anxious looks.
Downhill, left to right. Really hard to judge the pace of this putt.
This is for par.
Well, she knew it probably had to go in. She certainly gave it a run.
Well, it'll still be Yuting Shi to putt. But she's now putting for bogey. The title is slipping away from her.
Hard to think that someone that's had just 3 bogeys on the card all week might not walk away with the trophy.
She's played beautifully, hasn't she?
She has. She's been borderline flawless for the first 3 rounds. 4 under par for her day today. She's really given this a run. And I think a few momentum changes going either way have just been the difference.
Well, she bogeyed 18 yesterday. And were this to go in for a bogey, it's going to be extremely costly. Well, in it goes, but she's dropped a shot. She goes back to 16 under. It's a round of 69 for Yuting Shi, but the stage is set for the 21-year-old from Arnhem, Anne van Dam. This for her maiden title on the Ladies European Tour. And she makes no mistake. And the relief is palpable. Anne van Dam is the Xiamen International Open champion for 2016. She makes par on 18. She's played some brilliant golf. And she has beaten Yu Ting-shi by a shot. An outstanding performance. Brilliant golf. And beer.
Embracing the celebrations, and she'll be a very popular win on tour. And you'd have to think if ever there was a week she was going to come away with the title, it would be on a golf course like this. Hug there from tournament director Xiao Pinto.
Disappointment for Yu Ting-shi. She's played her part though, an absorbing back nine. And emerging the winner is Anne van Dam. Thoroughly deserved. Birdies on 16, that shot on 17. That approach shot on 17, having found the 18th fairway. Absolutely brilliant.
That's a shot that she's going to look back on in tournaments to come when she needs to do something under the pump, under pressure. She's going to look at 16, her approach in there. She's going to think about that approach on 17, setting up the birdie from no man's land almost. She has truckloads of talent, Anne van Dam. No, her coach, Eric van der Kinderen, will be celebrating back home alongside Rob Moran, her putting coach and her trainer as well, Martin van Oosterhout. A lot of people putting the effort in to trying to get Anne ready to play each week, and she is always so complimentary of the team behind her.
All the hours of practice, all the sacrifices are worth it for Anne van Dam. A round of 68, 17 under par. She wins by one from Yu Ting-shi. Exceptional performance from Tanapol Punyaras, who's had her struggles in America, finding a bit of form in Asia. Amelia Lewis got herself into a good position but couldn't quite make it count when it mattered. Good week though for her. Vicky Lang under par for the tournament. So too the youngster Jessica Bradley. Level par, Pamela Pretzwell. Florentina Parker, she came with high hopes. Not quite able to find her recent form. Disappointing week for Su Chia Cheng, a former winner and runner-up here in Xiamen. Your thoughts, Alison?
Well, I think we really got more than we bargained for from that final group, particularly coming down the stretch. And you know, this is a golf course that does stretch out the field. You see a few players on screen now. Dan Lee, rough day out there today, and it can happen here at Orient Golf and Country Club, where you know once the wind gets up, this golf course can really test your short game. But it's an absolute testament to Anne van Dam holding her nerve down that final stretch, making the birdies when she needed them for her maiden title.
68 today for Anne van Dam. Closing the door on Yu Ting-shi and the rest of the field. .67 from Supamat Sangchan of Thailand, tied for fifth, along with three other players. Good week for Lydia Hall and Juju Chen. Another impressive performance from Aditi Ashok. Yet another top 10. good signs too from Malina Jorgensen and Valentin Derry. And this is how the final day of the Xiamen International Open unfolded.
This is Kuo on the second. Chipping in for birdie. He's out in 35. The bogeys coming down the stretch though. And Van Dam's approach into the par 4. Setting up a great birdie opportunity early on in the round. And she would take advantage.
She followed that up with an eagle on the 4th. Made a fast start did Anne Van Dam.
This is Yan Lu picking up a stroke or two on the back 9.
She just short with her birdie attempt. Green's playing slow this week because of the typhoon. She pretty much had the measure of them.
But how about this shot on the 11th? 141 yards to the pin. She was staring it down. And that was why, setting up 2 feet left for birdie. After bogeying 10. It's Anne Van Dam's turn to respond. It's on the 11th also, just coming up a hair or two short. She turned in 35, par 10. Ended up parring the 11th there.
Lydia Hall's approach to the 12th. A lovely, lovely touch.
Turned in 34, double bogeyed the 10th. Did pick up a birdie there though.
Quote. Rolling one in.
Nice bounce back after a 5 on the par 3 11th. Now wasn't this a big putt? In the water off the tee, laid up and canned 35-footer for par just when she needed it.
And that was superb from she.
Raxa over the back of 14. It was tracking. It would have been a pretty cheeky par after a rough approach shot into that green out of the sand. Paul Boone Yaris.
Really tough hole today, 15.
Yeah, the best tee shot we saw all day on the par 3. This one nearly so close to a hole in 1. But she wasn't able to convert that into a birdie. And this is when the drama started on 16. Anne Van Dam, her approach. Hit the perfect drive. It's an iron off the tee.
And how about that? At the top of the leaderboard in the final round, cool as a cucumber. She produced some brilliant golf, as did this lady.
Well, she gave it a run, but it would be a par for Yu Ting Shi. A birdie, however, the Tana Paul Boone Yaris on the par 4.
She was very steady.
And how about the 17th? I'm still recovering from watching what happened on 17.
Oh.
This from Panarat. Dead aim at the pin. And it was an eagle 2 for the 18-year-old Thai.
Shot of the day.
Certainly giving the crowd something to cheer for down the home stretch. She needed to make this putt. She walked it in. Yu Ting Shi posting the number first. Got to 17 under par with that putt. And it was over to Yuan Van Dam.
And she produced on 17. So they went to 18, all square.
Congratulations, what a final day that was, and what a way to win your first trophy. I mean, what are the emotions going through you right at the moment?
Well, right now, I don't even know. I'm just so glad I got that stretch. I stayed so patient out there today. I think on my 6th hole made a bogey, and from there on I just parred it in and hit really good shots, but my putting was just not there yet. But I said to myself, keep patient. You never know until the last putt is done what's it going to be. And yeah, I mean, 16, 17 were absolutely crazy. Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about 16 and 17. I mean, there were some great recovery shots.
Yeah, I mean, on 16 I had pretty much a perfect distance for, say, my gap wedge distance. And I just looked at the pin and I really wanted just to hold a shot. That's what was going through my mind pretty much all day. From the first hole on, I just tried to hold pretty much every second shot or third shot into the green. And I think it was really close going in, so that was a nice birdie. And I don't know what happened on 17 tee box, but that was just one of those drives. But I mean, I knew the space for me was left, so it was okay. And then that pitch, yeah, maybe 1 in 10, I don't know. I went for it and pulled it off, so yeah.
Walking up the 18th to the green, how were the nerves?